Hey Space Sailors, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Citizen Sleeper. I expect that today I'll be finishing this game. Probably not this episode, but within the next few episodes. We're just starting Act 3 of helping out the refugees, and that is really all we have left to do now, other than ignoring everyone leaving. In related news, Citizen Sleeper 2 did release today, as I'm recording this, probably tomorrow, or probably yesterday or the day before by the time this is uploaded, but feel free to go check that out if you've been enjoying this. I will get around to playing it on the channel eventually, but probably not for a while. I have a bit of a backlog of ideas, to say the least. But without any further ado, let's see here. Apparently I used all my dice, so we're gonna go have a rest. And we pretty much just have 2 cycles to sit here and do nothing at this point, I have to say. I guess we should make sure our food supply is in perfect, or I mean, we have 2 stabilizer backed up, but just make sure the farm is in good, Okay. Let's harvest our mushrooms, I guess. Not that, I mean, I already had... I think I had 1 quintet already, and 2 stabilizer besides, but there we go, mushrooms. Let's get a couple of these made into even more stabilizer. Now we have 3, so I think we're probably doing okay. I don't want to get the minus energy. Let me grab some food. Actually, I can just eat these. I forgot. Well, I kind of forgot how. Oh, right, I have to go to, here, and then I can cook them up. Oh, no, right, that's the... Oh, no, I can't cook up the Matsutake caps, yes. Yes, excellent. Okay. Now I guess we will harvest a few more spores. So that we can replant, as though we're in any real danger anyway, but... Okay, yeah. I have to say any sense of danger wore off a very long time ago as far as any risk of actually running out of stabilizer. It was there in the first, like, maybe third of the game, maybe even half, but it's not even... I haven't felt in any danger of it in a long time now. Even before discovering this, but obviously this really helped. Oh. Oh, we do have... This is happening now, but we are not leaving. I have decided that, but this is happening now. There's a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock. They're waiting at the cordon where Sealess security are checking the crew into board the ship. Those that manage to get up to the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know their chance of getting on board is long gone. Lem. Lem spots you among the crowd. Sleeper, we're here. You're standing beside a bag which looks to carry all the possessions they have. It's small enough to be carried in one hand. Hi, Mina. Mina is vibrating with excitement. She seems strangely at home in microgravity, but then you remember she spent her whole life in space. Hi, robot. You hand over the Celis ID film to Lem, keeping your own. He turns back and forth in the light. Where did your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? Looks like my old Conway ID. You look, and a shimmering, younger Lem stares out of the film, harder and clean cut. I spoke to the guard here, he nods to the white and green clad security officer. They'll be doing orientation and role assignment on board. Sounds like we're going to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID. As you lift the film up to the light, you see something strange. Something that makes you flinch. The face printed in the film is one you recognize immediately, but it is not you. At least it's not how you look now. You squint at this ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. It's a picture you remember being taken, a memory you didn't know you had. You remember signing the forms, the walk to the sleeper tanks, the cold metal floor. You remember the SNRP employee who helped you in, her smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in an SNRP facility. They won't wake until you're recovered and disposed of. And now you're leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper, Lem interrupts your thoughts. These guys want us to board. You stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to you both to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourself on the guardrail. You hang back, letting Lem present his ID film first. The guard slides it across a white machine, much like the one Castor printed them from. You reflexively rub the puncture mark on your hand, even though there's no trace of it now. It seems to be your destiny to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you're coming. The guard beckons you closer. No. You wait for a moment. You need to wait for a moment. This is all happening too fast, changing too much. There's so many questions you have, so many threads to catch hold of, and yet here you are, boarding a ship to who knows where on a journey that will take decades. Yeah, I have no intention of boarding. Is this really what you want? How will you even survive? That's actually a very obvious point. We would die, like, immediately if we boarded this ship, would we not? We wouldn't have any stabilizer anymore. No, I'm staying on the eye, bro. You can't do it. You can't get on this ship. You turn away quickly, trying not to look at Lem, to look at Mina, to meet their eyes. You turn away and kick off hard from the guardrail. When you reach the far wall, you turn back. The scene continues in front of you as if nothing has changed. The next set of people are boarding. The crowds are still gathered at the cordon. The side rail horizon still blinks, its yellow hull bright against the stars. And there are Lem and Mina, gliding up towards the docking bridge, bag in hand. Lem is facing away, focused on the steady climb, but Mina's in his arms and is facing back towards you. You watch her face, confused, sullen, but twinkling with a growing excitement as Lem carries her forward. As you watch Mina, you think about your future, about the future you might choose. You know one thing for certain. That future is on the eye. You no longer have any enthusiasm for being carried forward by the dreams of others, for grand futures that unfold like angelic wings across the horizon. The future is being made now, on this spinning ring among its people and its systems. You're sure of that. But as you watch Mina disappear into the entrance of the sidereal horizon, and much later when you watch the ship pull away, you feel a sense of longing. A longing to be carried. Not by the systems that spin the suns or the corporations that run the colonies, but by love towards an uncertain future, just as Mina was. That, you think, is the future you wish to make here on Erland's Eye. Achievement left behind. Okay, oh, and credits again. I've seen these once, I'm gonna go ahead and skip them. Apparently there's not really a definitive, and well, just whenever you run out of things to do otherwise, that's when it's over. Hey Castor, what's up? I betrayed you. A strange choice. Castor stands beside you at the rail, watching the pinpricks of light from the side rail horizon's drives disappear. Perhaps not unexpected. You turn to look, and Castor's beaming at you with an unsettling warmth. You're not mad, bro? About what? He squeezes your shoulder. I only wish for you to exercise that strong drive of yours. If it happens to align with my own, then it is pleasing to me, but if it does not, I cannot punish you. About Sealess. Castor looks out to the stars. Indeed, that is a matter which worries me. Sendra Celis has taken a step back from the public eye. It seems some internal struggles are playing out within their pristine halls. Castor sighs, but I doubt core politics are of much interest to you. Castor moves down the rail. The eye, though, that seems to be your primary concern. Am I right? It's my home. He smiles broadly. Then we are fellow residents. He seems pleased. This place has been a good home for me. Though like all places, it has its phases. Do not idle here too long, Sleeper, unless you wish to be once again caught in the movement of systems much bigger than yourself. Castor turns and starts to clunk away in his mag boots. I will be keeping an eye on you if you don't mind, Sleeper. He waves as he walks. My curiosity remains piqued. Once he leaves, you stay a little longer at the rail, watching the stars, imagining the look on Mina's face when she sees Seedless One for the first time, imagining the excitement when she first touches its soil, the joy when she first stands outside in the rain, laughing. Those images, though they will not happen for decades, are what will carry you through this cycle and perhaps the next one, too. Yeah? Alright, see, we would have died. Like, I guess we could assume we're bringing mushrooms or something, but I'm pretty sure we would have just died very quickly if we went there. Okay, we can't. Oh. Sleeper. Peek's waiting for you in the corridor. It's time. Peek looks pale and disheveled, with heavy marks under their eyes and strands of hair sticking to their face. For what? Peek smiles weakly. Nice try, but we can't dodge this. Peek holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. All the data I've compiled on the flux event, the effects of the wave, and the structures that hide within it is on here. You look at the tiny drive, a casket of dark secrets. I've annotated it to the best of my ability. Anyone should be able to understand the threat, the potential in this. Peek sighs. It makes for grim reading. Without intervention, the Eye will suffer a cascading collapse of systems just like the colonies of Ember's moons. Intervention? Peek grimaces. That I'm still working on. Peek looks at the drive. This shadow in the flux, this protocol is so hard to pin down. It adapts to any countermeasure I've tried to deploy. It's like trying to hold water in a cage. It slips straight through. There has to be a way. Peek closes their hand around the drive. We need help, Sleeper. It's about everyone on this station. They sigh. We have to set up a meeting to tell someone who can do something about this. Why the hell don't we just send it anonymously to both of them? Honestly, though, that's what makes the most sense, I think. But if we actually have to just tell one, we have to tell Helene. She's the one who's actually in charge of the station. They're not going to listen to the refugees, no matter what Soul tells them. So... And I'm pretty confident that the station is much bigger and has way more people on it than the refugees, if we're going to do brutal arithmetic. So, Helene. Perhaps, Peek pauses, if anyone can protect the Eye, it's Havenage, but their internal politics will make it hard for them to act. Will they even listen to us? That is the risk, right? But... we've cleansed some of the corruption from Havenage. They're not that bad. They just have politics. But the refugees straight up can't protect the Eye, right? They don't really have access to its systems or anything. They're not going to be able to fix it, I didn't think. Or perhaps, Peek adds thoughtfully, we've been thinking about this all wrong. Peek sighs glint. Why make a choice when we can tell both of them? Thank you! Exactly! Why pick a side when the only side in this entire thing is one we all need to take? Peek speaks as they think, their words barely keeping pace with their thoughts. We need to resist this together, or we will fail. We need everyone on board, Sleeper. Peek smiles. That is the only way. We send them data to both. How is this a revelation to you? How did you not consider this before? Sorry, I'm getting too angry here. Yes, I think you're right, Peek. Peek smiles. I'm glad you see it too. They look away. Another flux event is coming, I'm sure of it, and I'm not sure we can survive without help. Peek opens their hand and holds the drive out for you to take. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. You know Soul, you know Helene, they trust you. To them, I'm just another spacer, but you're a part of this place. Hearing someone else say it hits you hard. You're part of the Eye, Peek is right. But right now, that feels more like a weakness than a strength. I've set up a daily data relay at the cordon. It's neutral ground. Take the data and send it out to Havenage and the flotilla. Once they receive it, they will come, we can be sure of that. You'll meet them there and take them through it all. No one could do a better job. They tuck a strand of hair behind their ear. Okay. Peek tentatively puts a hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Sleeper. I know this is hard, but we have to move forward. We can't keep this to ourselves anymore. They step back, looking thin and pale in the harsh station light. Come talk to me once it's done. And they slip away into the Eye. Yeah, I was not anywhere near as reticent to keep this, or determined to keep this secret as they were in the first place. I'm gonna see these guys away so that I can say that, oh, this is actually a job I can still do. Didn't realize that. I'm just gonna send them away. I've pretty much decided I'm not leaving the Eye in the end. It just doesn't make sense. Frankly, this is the only place I can be sure I'll stay alive because of the stabilizer supply, so I'm gonna send everybody else away, yeah. Right. Do I need to do this right now? No. Yeah. I'm gonna finish finish the ambergris thing first. Then we will properly have explored all the potential endings, as far as I know, of the base game, and then we will trigger episode 3. Akita wants it all out. Weapons, countermeasures, torpedoes. Working on amber again is a joy. You know every inch of this hole. After all, you fitted half of it. Hold on. Weapons, countermeasures, torpedoes. It would be a risky job if you didn't know amber so well. Move defused torpedo warheads into the bay, trying not to think about what Akita used them for. That was sweet. We might finish this job this cycle. Yeah, I'm sure we are, actually. Amber looks better than she ever has before. Bliss has done an incredible job of cleaning up the hole, and despite the exterior changes being limited, she has the impression of being lighter, somehow sleeker than before. Moritz drifts by. He's been loading up the final equipment onto Amber. Turns out Akita will be taking her weapons, but packed and ready to sell at the first starboard belt port she hits. And now that Moritz is done, he seems in a kind of daze, floating back and forth aimlessly. You okay, Moritz? What's that? He turns. Oh, right, yeah. Pack the stack. He smiles a weak smile. Was hoping Miss Cassetta would let me keep a warhead. What do you think of her? Miss Cassetta? He shrugs. She seems tired and old. Like, older than she looks. Hey, Sleeper, he looks down. Did you know Bliss was leaving? You understand now. She told him. That's why he's like this. I did. He nods distractedly. She said this place is mine. He looks up around the bay like it's suddenly some vast space he doesn't know what to do with. You'll do a great job, man. He looks down at you. Hey, thanks, he smiles. I appreciate you saying that. Not many people believed in me before now. First Bliss, then you. A dark look suddenly crosses his face. Hey, Sleeper, there was something Bliss said. He meets your eye. Are you going too? Before you can answer, Akita glides into the bay, a massive crate on her shoulder. Sleeper, you coming or what? Bliss is already on board. She stops by the terminal, holding herself in place. Moritz looks at her with a dazed expression. You look at Akita. She's keeping it together now. She's packed all those bad feelings down someplace where you'll never see them and built a tough foundation on top. She may not be a mercenary anymore, but you imagine most people would think twice before trying to cross her. Well, she looks at you. I'm not eager to spend another moment of my time on this station unless I have to. She pauses, looking between you and Moritz. She sighs. I'll give you a minute. And she kicks off with the crate, taking it to the end of the bay where the amber sits docked. You look back at Moritz. I'm staying. Moritz looks like he might pass out. Sleeper, are you sure? Are you doing this for me? No. Moritz nods. Alright then. You're staying. He grins. Akita comes back across the bay, the final crate stowed. You staying then, Sleeper? That's right. She nods. Well, okay then. One last mouth to feed. She pauses. Look, Sleeper, I'm not going to go back over everything that happened, she sighs. I'm trying to put that behind me. But I hope you find what you're looking for here. She smiles and kicks off, gliding to the ambergris and the starboard belt beyond. You both watch in silence as Amber's drives fire up. I guess this is our place now, since Moritz, the weight of everything suddenly hitting him. I guess so. He smiles. That's cool. You both stay for a while to watch Amber and Bliss and Akita leave, and then Moritz goes to the racks to finally implement a new organizational system, and you head out, promising to be back to check on things soon. As you glide around the soft curve of the hub, you catch glimpses of the distant stars flickering through the windows. They're beautiful, it's true, but by now you think of them as a distraction. And then in your time on the Eye, you've realized there's nothing out there waiting for you. No fresh starts, no bright futures, just a whole load of problems you haven't found yet. And your place is here among the people you know and the problems you know. You wish Akita and Bliss the best of luck out in the belt, but as you do, you focus on the Eye, on the vast spinning rim that rotates around its hub, on its buildings and flashing lights, on its people and places. This is your home, and for now, it contains all the futures you need. Achievement, the fixed stars, everything you've prepared with enough time and effort. I'm going to skip the credits for the second time in the last 10 minutes. You can go back a few episodes to when I first got an ending with the gardener if you really want to watch them. Next round is yours. Moritz arrives at the table with a couple of steel drink canisters, typical of the hub's only bar, the Gimbal Lounge. He settles into the webbing beside the table and clunks them down onto the magnetic table. This place, you have decided, is ridiculous. A rapidly spinning cavernous sphere, the gimbal's weak gravity, just like the gravity at the eye's rim, is created by its gut-wrenching rotation. The interior surface of the sphere is the gimbal's floor, which descends towards the equator where one long bar loops around the entire circumference. Tumbling out from that central ring are an array of booths and seating arrangements equipped with all kinds of harnesses and webbing to keep customers in place. Those harnesses are there because the gimbal doesn't quite spin up fast enough, and you watch the clientele bounce towards the bar in lazy arcs or shift from table to table with graceful leaps. "What are you thinking?" asks Moritz, noticing you staring out into the gimbal. "How weird this place is, man." Moritz glances around as if for the first time. "Yeah, Bliss never used to like coming here." Moritz takes a drink and stretches. "So, Sleeper, you sticking around?" If you'll have me." Moritz nods. "Of course, I'm gonna need help in the bay." Moritz rubs the back of his head. "One cycle at a time, that's how we'll take it. Nice and easy." You aren't sure if he's talking to himself or you. We'll make it." He lifts his drink for a toast. "To the next cycle," he pronounces and knocks it back. Later, when you finally leave the gimbal, Moritz is still laughing. You help him out of the spinning gimbal and back into the hub, sending him on his way home to the bay. Then you pause for a moment to watch the stars as they spin and spin around the eye. You smile to yourself and think of Bliss and Ankita out there somewhere among those points of light. To the next cycle. I can work in the bay for just straight up cash now, which is nice. I figure that's essentially my permanent job, but first we have the whole eye to save, no pressure. So let's have a nap. Feed the cat. And let's do this. We are fully out of all other quests. It's just a matter of Act 3 of this expansion thing. 5 flux data. Peaks relay lies ready. And this is it. This data's a ticking time bomb. Once it's sent, there is no going back. Peaks relay pings a confirmation. The data is sent. Now all you can do is wait for the response. With the data sent, the only thing to do is wait. As you do, you imagine Helene receiving the data, perhaps in the middle of some Havenage Council meeting. You think of her trembling hands as she slips out of the room to read it. Her reaction you can't predict. You imagine Sol, too, one of his crew, finding him in some corner of the Pilgrim Seed, overseeing the modifications that will turn it into an ark. Those sharp eyes scanning the data, looking for a way to proceed. The wait draws out, and to pass the time, you watch the activity beyond the edge of the eye. The scrap shuttles pulling components from the now abandoned cordon, and the supply skips making runs between the flotilla ships. It isn't long before you hear the chirping of one of Helene's now familiar drones approaching the viewing platform, and then Helene herself strides into the room. "Where did you get this, Sleeper?" Helene holds up a slate scrolling with streams of flux data as she enters. "I need to know your source." "A friend." "You seem to have a lot of friends, Sleeper." Helene raises an eyebrow. "But I need to have this data authenticated. I can't just..." She pauses and pushes her hair back out of her face. "This is a lot to take in. A shadow protocol inside the flux, the system's CAN channel starting up, a total collapse of the eye." She rubs her forehead. "If I bring this to the council, they'll..." She turns away. "Man, they have to believe you." She laughs. "Do you know what has been happening within Havenage, Sleeper?" She looks away out at the flotilla. "Since the refugee ship started arriving, things have changed. It's chaos. No one can settle on a single issue. There's division at every vote. In the division, only one group prospers, the hardliners. Because as each counselor gets tired of the arguments, gets tired of compromise, they become more attracted to the easy answers. The flotilla's to blame, the refugees are opportunists, the eye must be defended." She shakes her head. "And now you're telling me they brought something to the eye that will cause its collapse." "They didn't bring it." "It doesn't matter, Sleeper. That's all the counselors will hear." She closes her eyes, a hand to her temple. "Many of them are already presume that the refugees are somehow to blame." "Did someone say refugees?" Sol clanks into the docking bay, grinning at the situation. "Speak of the devil, and well, here I am." His suit hisses as he settles on his cane. Helene glances between the two of you, uncertain if she's been drawn into some elaborate plan. Sol holds out a hand to her. "Sol," he nods. "I believe you've spoken remotely while the cordon was still set up." "Yes, I sent both of you the data." Soul laughs. Well, thank you. He raises an eyebrow. Evidence of our mutual inevitable destruction is not much of an olive branch, but I'll take it. I'm not Havenage, Helene blurts out, then corrects herself. What I mean to say is, no one person represents Havenage. That's the idea. I did not support the cordon, and I did not support your quarantine. Soul nods. Well then, Soul glances at you. Anyone mind if I get myself up to speed here? He pauses, but you get the feeling he isn't expecting an answer. 1. The flux events, the very same destabilizing waves that collapsed the colonies on the moons of Ember, have reached the station. He holds up a stubby finger. 2. According to data Sleeper provided, these events are acting as a cover for some kind of intrusive protocol which is causing the real damage. The second finger joins the first. 3. This shadow protocol will do the very same thing it did to Ember's Song, Step, and Hearth, and quickly. In short, it'll shut down everything keeping this place alive. The third finger pops up. 4. And this is my favorite. We have no idea who or what is doing this and why. Soul's final finger joins the other 3. Is that about the total of it? Well, don't forget there's another one coming. Of course there is. Soul smiles thinly. Sounds... Helene pauses, searching for words. Intimidating. Helene turns to Soul. Did you manage to put up any kind of resistance on Ember's Hearth? Soul shakes his head. That's why we're here. The Pilgrim Seed was the biggest ship to make it out unscathed. He pauses. I suppose we didn't have this data. We didn't know what was eating up the systems. We all thought it was the flux. Helene looks at you. And I imagine you, Sleeper, and whoever helped you uncover this might be able to figure out a countermeasure? We can try. Helene nods approval. Okay, so that's the start of it. If you'll forgive me, Soul cuts in, part of why I was able to save as many as I could on Ember's Hearth was that I gave up hope early. Soul shifts his weight, his suit hissing. There were endless strategy meets, system reboots, tests and trials, but I just got on with working on the Pilgrim Seed, with getting people on board. So when the second and the third and the rest of the flux events hit, we were ready to go. So if I can offer you some advice, Miss Not Havenage, it is to give up on that line of thought you have, that hope, and to start the evacuation. Right this cycle. Soul looks out of the observation deck towards the Pilgrim Seed. I've already started the process of converting the remaining volume of the Pilgrim Seed for human habitation. With Havenage's resources, I dare say we could finish the job with time to spare. Soul scratches at his beard. I know it's hard, and I know it's sudden, but you have to give up hope. We have to run. There will be no heroes here, just those that keep living and those that don't. Helene listens in silence, making calculations. She looks out at the bulk of the Pilgrim Seed, which, despite all its vastness, is dwarfed by the eye as a whole. Something flickers in her eyes. She opens her mouth to speak, and she stops, frozen. Let me think. Helene rubs her temple. I need a moment. Helene paces, and as you watch her, you realize how young she is, and how lost she is in the systems and protocols she has to navigate. You can almost see the strings and ties that bind her, glinting like webs in the wide space of the observation platform. Hell, I wouldn't be here if I was going to give up hope that easy. We purged the protocol. Helene stops pacing. But with what resources? The data you sent me, this thing is a shadow, uncontrollable, untraceable. Perhaps the full contingent of the Havenage Systems Department, but that would require hundreds of work orders to be overlooked. Maintenance schedules abandoned. She looks away. Getting that through the Council, would that even be possible? She glances at Soul, who's patiently watching, patiently listening. We have to try, Helene. Helene looks at the slate again. I will take this to the Council. Force them to listen. Force them to act. You both jump as someone loudly clears their throat nearby. Your eyes jump to the dark entryway that Helene emerged from just minutes ago. What a cozy little meeting this is. A man steps from the shadows, dressed in the same style of Havenage overalls as Helene. And I must say that is some very incendiary rhetoric you're using, Councillor Helene. You glance at Helene, and her face drops immediately. Kemp, she curses under her breath. Soul shifts his weight on his cane, but otherwise remains still, like a casual observer. Plotting against Havenage with an interloper. He gestures at Soul. Everyone will be so disappointed. Kemp smiles a bright smile. Some of the councillors had such high hopes for our youngest member. His smile drops. I, of course, never let novelty distract from the importance of experience. Helene stares daggers at Kemp. Enough of this petty shit, Kemp. You need to see this. She holds out her slate with an outstretched arm. The games are over. No more point scoring. No more lobbying. You and your hardliners need to stop. This is something real. Kemp calmly takes the slate and prods the screen, scrolling through the flux data. His face betrays nothing, but you see some complex calculation flickering in his sharp eyes. Kemp lowers the slate slowly and smiles at Helene. And what do you think this shows? Helene frowns. Don't play games, you can read. The flux is a carrier signal for some shadow protocol, most likely corporate in nature. Maybe it's Solheim re-emerging to claim their station, maybe it's a takeover. Either way, the station is under threat. You're right about that, but the rest? Conjecture. Kemp rubs his chin. What we have is a virus in our systems which emerged precisely when the flotilla arrived. In fact, it times in perfectly with the mysterious event that freed them. Oh my god, you asshole. So what I see is a hostile cyber warfare attack instigated by dissidents that fled Ember's moons after committing terrorist attacks on their own soil. Kemp's face darkens. That is the order of the facts, nothing more and nothing less. Good god, he's deranged, okay. Facts I'll be happy to present to the council. Kemp tightens his grip on the slate. Helene laughs. You think that's the only copy of that data, you sanctimonious shit? No, I don't, Kemp smiles. But who do you think they will listen to, Helene? Especially after I tell everyone about this little clandestine meeting. You couldn't win power by Havenage's systems, by our laws, so you resort to this. Kemp shakes his head. The law is with me. It's as simple as that. He gestures, and out of the shadows, 2 Havenage security officers appear. Now, no need for that, Sol suddenly speaks up. His silence had meant Kemp had stopped paying attention to him, but now you notice he has backup of his own. A group of his crew stand at the edge of the room. They're carrying long, boxy guns. You've never seen anything like them on the eye. Glossy XBR logos glint along their barrels. These are Esch's guns. Yeah, that was probably. No free guesses on who stole those in the first place, eh? Kemp freezes and the officers hesitate, holding back in the doorway. Be careful there, outsider, he stutters. Kill me and Havenage will never forget. Sol waves a hand at him. No one is killing anyone, so let's calm down. Sol scratches his beard. But I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Helene glances at him and he gives her a gentle nod. And you leave your colleague here with me. He raises an eyebrow. We haven't finished our conversation. Kemp laughs and shakes his head. You are finished, Helene. The council will never allow you back after this. Then he turns and walks out of the observation deck, taking his officers with him. You all pause to catch your breath. Helene looks ready to collapse. Sol flexes inside his suit, nodding at his crew to check that Kemp is fully retreated. Sol wrenches part of his suit back into place, grimacing. Your friends leave a lot to be desired. He shoots a glance at Helene. Seems like support for the evacuation might be a hard ask. Helene doesn't respond. She stares out at the pilgrim seed once more, trying to process what's in front of her. She sighs and turns back to you both. I won't call for an evacuation. She looks at Sol. Maybe that's a fatal mistake, but I can't do it. No, it won't work. It won't work. Even if she does, they obviously are not going to listen. I understand. But, she pauses, I won't block it either. If people want to leave, Havenage will let them. That is what I will propose to the council, she sighs, if they let me speak. You have to try. She nods at you and Sol and turns to leave. Sol is quiet. He scratches at his beard. Good luck, he offers to the departing Helene, but she does not respond. He leans on his cane. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. None of this changes anything for me. The Pilgrim Seed will be going in a handful of cycles, whether Havenage wants it or not. How long? Sol grimaces. Honestly, as soon as we're ready. I'm not eager to run down the clock to the last cycle. Sol puts a hand on your shoulder. There's a berth for you and for any you can gather, Sleeper. That much I owe you. Helene? I wouldn't hold out much hope of her coming around, Sleeper. She's too tied up in all this. It won't let her leave even if she wants to. Yeah, it's you. Hell, I'd say the same about you, but you have a habit of proving me wrong. My crew will take me from here, don't you worry. Sol straightens up. Oh, and thank you, Sleeper, for sending the data. I appreciate the extra info, and I'll see if it can help us shore up the Pilgrim Seed against any future Flux events. If we had you back on Ember's hearth... He pauses, suddenly losing his appetite for discussing the past. Sol sighs. Of course, we are going to need all the help we can get. If you can spare some time, come to the Pilgrim Seed, help me get it ready, bring others. There's a future to be earned here, cycle by cycle. We will be leaving as soon as we're able. If you want to help us get there faster, well, you'd be welcome. He meets your eye. Sol grimaces. Well, pauses. Just don't keep me waiting. Then he limps off towards his waiting crew. You pause for a moment to let your thoughts catch up. Pink will want to hear about all this. They should be your first port of call. That went well. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside as Ash, lugging a massive crate across the cargo bay, pushes past you, grunting an apology as she does. Grunt back. Ash doesn't look back. As you turn back to the bay, Peak pushes past too. Sorry, Sleeper, just a second. Peak rushes to catch up with Ash. Put that down. Please, Ash. But she doesn't respond to their urging. We can't leave, not yet. Peak puts a hand on her shoulder. Please, I'm the only one here who can... The crate drops, the sound of its impact echoing around the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peak? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We are running, Peak. We are running because this thing cannot be stopped. It couldn't be stopped at XBR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can, Ash. We can give these people a chance. Peak pleads with her. Like they gave the refugees a chance? Ash shakes her head. No, Peak, this is not on us. We barely made it out of XPR. I worked for years to escape, and now you want to throw it all away? I left everything behind. My mother, my friends, to take you out of that place. She clenches her jaw. She turns and slams her hand onto the crate, breathing hard. We go. That's the end of it. Peak turns away. You feel unsure what to do, but you know now is not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. Peak crosses the bay back towards you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper. They sigh. Let's talk upstairs. Peak leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up out of the bay and into the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs, signs of a home. Here, sit. Peak gestures to the broad mess table with its curved couches, and you slide in on one side. Peak sits opposite. They brush their hand out of the inner eyes and take a deep breath. So how did it go? What did they say? I've been waiting all cycle. Peak listens nervously as you explain how Eileen said she will support your efforts to find a countermeasure for the Shadow Protocol. Okay. Peak looks pleased. That sounds good, much better than I was hoping. But what about the Council? Are they behind that, or will she operate alone? Well. Peak looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the hardline Councilor Kemp's sudden appearance. Damn, then Helene's gonna have problems of her own to deal with. Peak shakes their head. Looks like we won't be able to count on anything from Havenage. They pause. What stopped Kemp from arresting her? Well, I found your missing guns. Peak rolls their eyes. Of course. Those are the guns Ash managed to smuggle through to the refugees. The ones she didn't tell us about. Peak sighs. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? S is standing quietly in the doorway listening. You don't know how long she's been there for. Peak looks up at her with tired eyes. Sleeper found the weapons you smuggled from XPR. Ash freezes. She glances between you and Peak as if this might be some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Ash moves out of the doorway and enters the room. What happened? Peak interrupts. Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as a threat, that's all. Good. Ash folds her arms. You get the feeling that she knows Peak will not approve. Peak goes to speak and then decides not to take the bait. They glance at you. I'm sure you've heard enough of us arguing this cycle, Sleeper. Peak shoots a look at Ash. But our introduction of those weapons into the equation are just another reason why we simply cannot run away. Ash looks away but says nothing. She surely knows they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here, so it's motivating her. You realize she still might be trying to protect Peak, even from himself. Suddenly, a shrill beeping fills the room, and Peak pulls out their slate to silence it, but as they do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen, the beeping continuing its insistent pulse. What? You're about to be hit by another flux event? Peak doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with glazed eyes at the slate, then they let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping shuts off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Ash frowns at Peak. Planning to explain? 12 cycles. Peak looks vacantly up at you both. 12 cycles until the next flux event. They shake their head. I've been using the arrays on the Briar to look towards the center of the system, to approximately where the can channel should be. Just this moment, they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of previous flux events, we have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles, that's it, before a second wave hits in this place. Peak interrupts your thoughts. We start now. That's the end of it. Peak stands up to face Ash. You want to take the Briar and run, Ash? That's on you, but I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper, for every cycle it takes trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild desperation flickering there. We will find something. The sooner you have a plan, we have a plan, the better. It takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing. It'll be too long. Peak's eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate, pass it to you. so we can keep in touch. You pocket the thin handheld terminal. And Ash kickstarts, but she's gone, storming down the corridors of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know from experience that it's impossible to outrun your fears, but you get a sense that Ash will try anyway. Nick rubs their red eyes, staring after Ash. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering in their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? And you slip from the room into the corridor, Peek's quiet sobs somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. That's nice. Okay, so thanks for watching, Space Sailors. Hope you enjoyed. New episodes will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like or subscribing, and have a nice day, Space Sailors. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.